Summer is coming, and with that, a lot of road trips with your family. And whether you like being in the car with your family or not, because we've all had those experiences. That's why National Lampoon's Vacation is a thing, is a workable thing, because it becomes...
Well, it's a compounded problem if you already don't really like long trips in the car. Then on top of that, you have, whatever drama may or may not be happening with your family.
Of everybody in our family, I'm the one that after a little while in the car, I just can't.
Yeah.
Although I'm not the reason we stop as often as we do. Murphy is the stopper.
I believe in, frequent stops. It's so fun. I mean, my parents grew up in a very different day where they wanted to stay on the road until you got there. But, it's not good for your body to be in one position for 5-6 hours at a time without stopping and stretching. It's
you hit the bathroom.
Not healthy.
You're a bathroom breaker too. Before me and the girls are even ready.
But just getting up and moving around is just good for you.
I bring it back up because I don't know if you've had this experience, Sam, too. But just a day trip. Murphy and I took Murphy on a little girls trip, just day trip Saturday. It was basically to get you out of the house. We talked about it in the show today, and. We were in the car an hour, 10 minutes.
It wasn't bad.
It's an hour away. So 2 hours in the car. But that time, did you not notice, ended up being as important as the destination because of the things that we ended up talking about. Do you realize that we got some good family work done?
Yeah, you're right.
Things that were on the list that we needed to handle anyway. For instance.
Was anybody taking notes?
I mean...
Well, the driver over here wasn't, fortunately.
But we got some decisions made about, things that are coming up. Yes, we want to look into this summer vacation, the Key West thing that you want to talk about.
Yeah,
we're going to look into it.
If it's even possible.
We talked about our, landscaping project that we might be doing, and will that go before we need some painting done at the house? But my favorite one was talking about Taylor, our oldest, who is graduating soon, and sort of thinking about and talking about what we're going to do beyond that little party that we're throwing. It was just really, it would not have been fun to sit down at the house at the table and do that like a checklist.
A, B, C. Yeah, you're right.
But in the car, there was just something and it got my creative juices flowing better.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they say, and I remember hearing that a long time ago when our girls were little. I think our pediatrician said, when you need to talk to your kids about something, get them in the car. Like you're driving, everybody's looking ahead, you're not looking eye to eye. It's a good time to talk about things. So I think summer trips is something to remember.
Yeah.
That the time can be quality.
Yeah. Well, usually some of the best stories, as long as the family gets along, those come from those trips,
Yeah.
I think in our case, that's absolutely what it is. When I think back to being a kid, those were the fun times sitting right up next to my grandmother. We were all packed into the car, though. I mean, it was, my parents were in the front. Sometimes my sister would be in between them in the front, which I know that's remember, this is the late 70s. So,
right.
Yeah. So,
kids, we make our kids so comfortable today with DVD and their devices and their bucket seats. Yeah.
So you had Heidi, your grandmother, in between you and your brother in the back seat?
No, she sat in the corner and one of us would sit in the middle. So it was either my brother or my sister. Yeah.
But she was with y'all, so it was just like vacation.
Yeah.
The movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody was crammed in. But we didn't think about it being overly cramped. That's what's so weird. I guess if you don't know any differently.
Correct.
Then
you were just excited to be going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. If you've never had an experience, or much of it, if you've never if you've never been ultra comfortable on a trip, you don't know what uncomfortable is.
That makes perfect sense to why my mom was such the perfect packing the trunk person. I mean, she got that thing so packed that it almost wouldn't close. Mm-hmm. It was just like perfect. There was no more room. Now, it was always, so both my grandparents and my parents had Cadillacs. They were always Cadillacs. They loved the way they rode. They weren't new. It wasn't about a wealthy thing because they're very blue collar. But, because, my dad's rule was buy used, which was also, by the way, my grandfather's rule. So they could always buy more car used. And so it was a comfortable ride, bigger car, and huge trunks on those cars, So
like mafia trunks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be big enough to fit 3 people.
Right. Exactly. So I think that's why. But even on the inside of that, you're talking 6 people in one car with 2 rows. This is not huge.
And it didn't kill you. It didn't hurt you. You had a really good childhood time with it.
I mean, obviously from a safety standpoint, you want the front seat thing would not be good anymore. Where my sister used to sit.
I can tell you,
the seatbelt thing.
I don't remember the type of car. I want to say Monte Carlo, but my mom had a car when we were little and we went on a short trip because we didn't go on a lot of trips. But I remember, as a joke, it was me and my cousins in the back seat, and I got up on the back thing right below the windshield.
Yes.
Up. What do you even call that?
Well, I don't know what it doesn't exist in cars for the most part today.
Right.
But
It was like the back dash.
The back dash. Thank you. I got up there and laid there for a while until my mom finally clued in and said, "Get down."
Hit the brakes real quick. That'll get you down.
Anyway, it's just a good thought going into summer vacations if you're doing it in the car. Don't let that be I can't wait till we get there. It's 4 hours, because that can be a very quality, very important part of it. Mm-hmm. It really can be.
I need to tell you about our family vacations in the back seat with my brother and I.
Yes, Sam.
Because we never had where we were just allowed to sit in the back seat. Just sit on the seats, because my dad always had to build something for the back seat so that we could lay out and stretch and sleep. It was
that's cute.
It was a wooden thing that fit perfectly over the back seat. It had on one piece of it, it had a leg support that went over the hump, the transmission hump.
Yeah.
And then it sat on the back seat, and it was like basically the size of a twin bed. And my brother and I, that's how we rode.
You slept. You laid down.
When you were laying down, it was great. But when you weren't laying down, it was uncomfortable. And no matter how much we complained, it's like, no, that's how we're traveling. Because it's like you had no way to sit, because if you were sitting, your legs were straight up.
It's funny because you almost would have been more comfortable sitting and sleeping sitting up, because kids can do that. Yeah. Kids are resilient. They don't get sore the next day.
And my mom she was like Uber packer. I mean, not the trunk or anything, Murphy. This was like, we need 17 bags of snacks just in case, so we never have to pull over and go straight through. Right. So
10 pounds of potato salad, Mom.
Each side, even if we got to sit, we would be packed in with ice chest and 2 big bags of chips and cookies and all that stuff. Yeah.
So
it was an adventure.
It's a good thing, but you guys make it sound painful. Okay, factor time.
Oh, yes, factor time. I'm going to tell you about the variety you can get with factormeals.com. And these are meals that are sent to you ready to eat. They're not frozen. They're gourmet. You don't have to prepare anything, chop anything, dice anything. Every week, you go on the factormeals.com website, and there's 35 meals to choose from. You can pick as many or as little as you want. They change every week. If you like something, keep picking it. If you don't feel like it or you don't have time, they've got pre-picked plans, a calorie plan. They have a vegan plan. They have a protein, a keto plan.
Yeah.
Keto. So it's really about speed and convenience for you. And then when it comes to you, you just pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes and it's done.
That's easy.
Is it plenty of food for you?
I thought it was.
Okay.
Because
you finish them all?
You get the protein with however they decorate that up, and then you get the side as well. So
it's the right amount for you.
It's definitely, especially if you're a one-person kind of
situation.
Get that. And you can go to factormeals.com right now and use the code MSJ50. You'll get 50% off. Factormeals.com, the code MSJ50.